viewers, you're watching RTD's English News Edition. Here are our headlines for tonight. Prime Minister presided over the introduction of the Professional Integration Contract Program this morning at the People's Palace. In Italy changes its approach and reopens its ports for migrants. Thank you for joining us in our newsroom. An important ceremony to launch the program entitled Employment Integration Contract took place this morning at the People's Palace. The ceremony was presided over by the Prime Minister Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed and brought together several members of the government, parliamentarians, representatives of the UN and international organizations, several representatives of the private sector, as well as several guests. Indeed, ANFIP, which oversees this program, has undertaken an employment support project aimed at promoting young Djiboutian graduates experiencing difficulties related to recruitment. This is a paid professional contract for a period of 5 to 6 months in the commercial sector. The results of the program are edifying since it allows trainees not only to have a first experience at the paid internship with the possibility of hiring at the end of the contract, but also companies to have a first contact and to discover the qualification of young graduates or non-graduate Djiboutians. It should be recalled that the integration of young graduates into the labor market in Djibouti is the backbone of the government's policy to combat unemployment. Several interventions took place during this important ceremony, including that of an inserted young woman named Idila Nyabani, who was recruited by a local bank following her internship. The Director General of the National Agency for Labor, Training and Vocational Integration, Mr. Mahmoud Omar, pointed out in his intervention that the program of the Vocational Integration Contract was initiated by the government and aims to enable trainees to enroll in institutions and companies, according to him. In turn, in Djibouti, Barbara Menzi stressed the importance of this program to support the unemployment youth segment in Djibouti. And for his part, the president of the Djiboutian Chamber of Commerce, Yusuf Moussa Douali, pointed out the importance of the mechanism of professional integration of a number of people and benefit from vocational rehabilitation in institutions. For his part, the Minister of Labor delivered a speech on the occasion of launching the program of professional integration, pointed out that this program aims to ensure appropriate work and social justice for all Djiboutians looking for jobs. In a speech, the Prime Minister, Mr. Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed, on the occasion expressed his pleasure to participate in the launching ceremony of the Professional Integration Contract. It is a pleasure and joy to launch today the system of professional integration contract among economic operators who have received applications from 150 job applicants for integration into enterprises, said the Prime Minister. The event is titled Decent Work and Social Justice with a Professional Job Contract. He continued, this step is a priority for the government work to find appropriate solutions to provide jobs for these job seekers, and the practical program of the National Labor Policy presented by the Minister of Labor through the National Agency for Employment, Training and Vocational Integration aims to improve youth employment and promote youth inclusion, said the Prime Minister. This initiative will soon be extended to all the sectors to create many jobs for young people, has concluded the Prime Minister. The Minister of Communication, Mr. Radwan Abdullahi Bahdoun, received in his cabinet the Somali Minister of Communication and Technology, Mr. Abdul Wali Abdullahi Sufi, on a 48-hour working visit to our country. During the meeting, which took place in the presence of collaborators of both parties, the state of cooperation between the two parties was at the center of the discussions. The ways and means of strengthening cooperation between Djibouti and Somaliland were raised, including the strengthening of relations in the field of telecommunications. After the meeting, the two ministers moved to the submarine cable arrival center. Djibouti Telecom technicians gave details on the operation of the Haramou Central. The Somali minister welcomed Djibouti's infrastructure development and expressed the wish to strengthen relations in this area. For his part, Djibouti's Minister of Communication announced that the Republic of Djibouti will support Somaliland in the development of telecommunications infrastructure and new technologies. Other news of this edition: the Minister of Equipment and Transport, Mr. Musa Mohamed Ahmed, traveled to Dikhil this morning to take part in the ceremony to launch the reconstruction work on National Road 1. The ceremony was also attended by Japan's ambassador to Djibouti, Koshio Netani, Deputy Prefect of Dikhil, the Director General of ADR, parliamentarians from the Dikhil region, the President of the Regional Council, and representatives of local authorities in the region. It should be noted that this work concerns the 20 kilometers Sedeguru Road to Kalafi section, which is financed by Japan as part of the economic cooperation between the two friendly countries and will last for 18 months. The Japanese ambassador, for his part, welcomed the fraternal relationship between the two countries and encouraged cooperation in infrastructure and transport as well. The Minister of Transport, for his part, thanked the Japanese people on behalf of the government through the ambassador in his delegation. And finally, in his intervention, the minister urged the Okar population to cooperate with the companies in charge so that the work could be carried out under calm conditions. The Minister of Health, Mr. Mohamed Warsamadiriye, received in audience the German ambassador accredited to Djibouti, Ms. Anke Holsten, as part of a courtesy visit. On this occasion, the discussions revolved around the main lines of health policies as laid down by the President of the Republic, His Excellency Ismail Mergeli, and implemented by the Department of Health. The Minister of Health, Mr. Mohamed Warsamadiriye, reiterated his wish to see the strengthening of Djibouti-German technical collaboration in the health sector, in particular through the strategy of twinning agreements between our hospitals. In this regard, the German ambassador expressed her readiness to contribute fully to the government's effort to develop Djibouti's health system, while thanking the Minister of Health for the warm welcome and remarkable hospitality extended to her. German Ambassador Anke Holsten said that her government will also provide financial support for the national malaria response and control plan in Djibouti. The Minister of Muslim Affairs and Culture, Moumin Hassan Barre, received this morning in his office the courtesy visit of the French ambassador accredited to Djibouti, Mr. Arnaud Guillois. The meeting took place in the presence of the senior advisor to the minister, Mr. Shuaib Adjal, the technical advisor, Idris Ahmed Musa, and the advisor for cooperation in cultural actions, Mr. Stéphane Gallet. The minister made a brief presentation of his department, which deals both with organization of the religious space and the dissemination of tolerance, as well as promotion of culture in the arts. The National Library and Museum project was also on the agenda for discussions, particularly in terms of capacity building, both in terms of library and museum specialties and in terms of support for operational phase. To this end, this component is a major challenge for the proper functioning of major projects such as the National Library, Djibouti Museum, the Djibouti Institute of Arts, and of course the National Filmography Agency. The ambassador promised to support the cultural sector, which is a fundamental element for mutual knowledge that will help to establish new horizons for the future based on understanding and cultural and artistic cooperation with the aim of discovering Djibouti's wealth and opportunities. An end of training ceremony of the 8th promotion of English language took place this morning, Sunday, September 15, at the Republican Guard headquarters. The trainees number 32 from the various Djibouti armed forces, but at the end, 12 trainees passed their training, which continued for 10 months at the training center of Camp Omar Ali. This ceremony is presided over by Colonel Mohammed Jama Douale, commander of Republican Guard, was attended by Mr. Yassin Hussein Douale, director of bilateral relations of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Commissioner Colonel Mohammed El Moussa, Colonel Matt Mungo, British Defense Attaché accredited in Addis Ababa, Mr. Peter, project manager, head of corps of the various institutions, the professor and his supervisors as well. The learning of the English language is part of the policy guidelines of the head of state and supreme head of the armed forces, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, for the mastery of foreign languages essential to the world of work and international communication. This course is designed to teach the trainees the 4 basic language skills of reading, speaking, writing, and listening, as well as grammar and pronunciation. This English language training project is provided each year to various defense and security institutions, namely the Republican Guard, the Gendarmerie, the Civil Protection, the National Navy, Penitentiary Guard, the Coast Guard, and the Artillery in the Djibouti Armed Forces as well. With this in mind, the British Council, in the role of managing the English peace-speaking project, has operated in approximately 40 countries around the world since 1985 and has trained in the 50,000 students who have benefited from the program, which aims to assist armies and security forces in peacekeeping operations, post-conflict support, or disaster relief operations around the world. Colonel Mohammed Jama Douale, commander of the Republican Guard, thanked the Secretary General and the representative of the British Embassy for their joint efforts to maintain this important center for the careers of the military, and then conveyed his warm congratulations to the graduates of this training who showed goodwill and diligence to succeed and obtain the diploma awarded at the end of the training. And finally, he said, while continuing his intervention, Colonel Mohammed Jama Douale also thanked the Chief of Corps and asked to send more trainees to the center each year to benefit from the training of this language, which has become essential for communication in Djibouti. The Secretary General of MENFA, Mr. Mohammed Abdullah Mahyoub, has launched this morning the work of a workshop dedicated to the sectoral analysis of the national education system. The event took place at the Center of Training for Teachers of Basic Education with the participation of many MENFA executives and managers. The work of this workshop, which is going to continue over the next 2 weeks, is devoted to the preparation of an in-depth evaluation and study of education system in terms of objective causes in quality, equity, but also of achievements in ongoing projects that will make it possible to draw the outlines of education master plan for the period 2021 and 2035. In an opening statement, Mr. Mohammed Abdullah Mahyoub said that this workshop will serve as the basis for the study, which will last nearly 9 months and will allow all the components of the education system to be scrutinized both in its performance, in its objectives, and expected results as well. He strongly urged the MENFA managers and officials involved in this study, as well as representative of associated ministries such as higher education and women and their family, to get fully involved and give their best, because it is the future of our children, he said, the development expectations of our country that are in stake. More generally, the workshop that has just been launched will make it possible to establish the working bases and thematic groups that will bring together international experts and Djiboutian managers and leaders to conduct this important study. Moving on to the regional and international news, leaders of the economic community of West African states promised on Saturday to mobilize $1 billion over 4 years to fight jihadism in the region. $1 billion over 4 years to fight jihadism. This is the flagship decision of the Economic Community of West African States Extraordinary Fight Against Terrorism Summit held on Saturday, September 14 in Ouagadougou. The plan of its budget, which uses only domestic resources, will be presented in December at the next ECOWAS summit in Abuja. But the money that will be paid into a common pot will be used in particular to strengthen the operational capabilities of national armies, as well as joint forces such as the G5 Sahel or the multinational joint force of the Lake Chad Basin. Migrants in Italy changes its approach and reopens its ports. This time there is no blockage at Italy's gates. Yesterday, Rome authorities the humanitarian vessel Viking Ocean to land on the island of Lampedusa. 82 migrants rescued at sea 6 days ago after a European agreement on their distribution. This is a very different attitude from the policy applied by the former government and its far-right Interior Minister Matteo Salvini. The agreement was reached between Italy, France, Germany, Luxembourg, and Portugal. The negotiation of a temporary automatic distribution mechanism in Europe for migrants rescued in the Mediterranean was confirmed on Thursday by diplomatic sources in Brussels. Well, this is it for this edition. Thank you for being with us and have a wonderful evening.